Jared, quick question for you. How exactly did GUNBROS get started?
How did it get started? Started about 5 years ago. It was started by Devin and myself. We were the owners. We are the brothers. And we just decided, hey, let's start this gun shop. But I tell you what, let's go back to the very beginning. Let's get Devin. Lucas, you got your mic? Devin, we're going down to Hendricks.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. I have to turn it face down so you guys don't see what chicks are texting me.
And by chicks, you mean your wife that you've been married to for like a decade and a half?
Dude, I got chicks texting me like it's their job.
What were you boys doing before you started GUNBROS?
I was working in the oil field as a petroleum engineer. Did that right out of college. That's what my degree was in. Did that for probably 4 years. Was a fantastic job. Yeah, and then we started GUNBROS. I also got a petroleum engineering degree, but unfortunately when I graduated, there was only 4 guys out of my graduating class of 60 that got jobs. My GPA was not high enough to procure a job. And so I was always good at math and started actually playing poker professionally. And I did that for about 4 years until COVID happened. And I reached out to Jared and said, hey, we need to make a move. What can we do? And then the concept and idea of GUNBROS was born. I had enough cash on me that I was literally searching our house in Pratt on where to put all the cash. Mom, I was like, hey, where do people do this? And she's like, well, don't put it in the top of the toilet in a Ziploc bag. And I'm like, I never even thought of that. Well, I guess that's a common spot. That's a good idea. I hid it in a little Dutch oven that I had on top of my bookshelf. Every time I think of Dutch oven, I think of Roman, sitting in there with the old timers. No, drinking decaf so he didn't get. I think that's Dutch kitchen. Up. Dutch oven is when you fart under the covers and hold the blanket over your wife.
That's where I kept my cash in my Dutch oven.
Had my wife showing right at that Dutch oven. I kept it warm. Jared and I had always had at least an interest in firearms. Right about this time, I had just gone through the paperwork of getting an SBR. Everybody online was complaining about how hard this paperwork was. I didn't think it was hard at all. So I reached out to Jared and I said, hey, if everybody thinks that this paperwork is terrible, maybe we should look at getting our FFL, and it would be a barrier to entry by having to go through the paperwork and all the legwork. So we're at Mom and Dad's shop. Dad is primarily a cattle farmer. He runs a small business out of here, but this is where it all began. So they had a couple of spare offices in here, and they were gracious enough in the early days to let us have access to a couple of the rooms, and so that's where we got started.
System is now disarmed.
This is where GUNBROS officially began. And I was working my engineering job out of this office. This is now my mom's office. This is way more doctored up than the way I had it, but this is where I was officing out of, doing engineering stuff, and then also kind of establishing GUNBROS. And then right down the hall, this was my office. It's full of my mom's scrapbook and wreath making now. That black metal pegboard on the back, I remember when we first put that up, we thought we were doing really well. Predominantly online, we just started stacking all the guns on the wall because we would have a little bit of walk-in traffic that had heard about us to come down here and shop. I had like an L-shaped table here, and then guns and ammo and everything scattered throughout this room. And at the time, we thought we were doing really well. Like, we would take pictures out of pride, showing off our inventory that we had. Our initial investment was $3,000. Obviously, $3,000 worth of firearms goes really quick. So Jared was like, hey, I think we're gonna buy 5 of these PSAs. And he was like, I think we could turn around and sell them like today, because it's kind of like in the meat of COVID. We turn around and sell them within the day. And Jared comes into my office and is like, I think we should buy 10. And I'm like, dude, that's way too much of a gamble. For sure should not do 10. And then we talked about it back and forth. I'm like, all right, I guess let's take the gamble and buy 10 guns. And we turned around and sold them pretty quickly too. To keep our customer base happy and continuing to visit us, we would actually go out and procure product from other retailers. We go to some random big box retailer, we'd buy their stuff, wouldn't mark it up at all because we were trying to build the customer base. And I can even remember us going to gun shows, and this would have been when Matt first got hired on. So Matt was a professional poker player as well. COVID happens, the card rooms kind of get shut down. We hire Matt, and he was kind of the first original employee of Gun Bros there from pretty much day one. Matt was working before we could pay Matt.
My name is Matthew Linhair, but commonly known as Kern. So I've been friends with the brothers, Devin and Jared, for quite a few years, even prior to the start of Gun Bros. Played professional poker for several years, as well as Devin did. So him and I played cards together for quite a few years prior to Gun Bros starting. And then once Gun Bros kind of became a thing, there it was.
We were playing the long game, and our philosophy at Gun Bros has always been and will always be, let's worry about turning a profit tomorrow. Jared and I would not be where we were at without very key people. So number one, Dad lets us rent an office down here for free. Our wives take a massive gamble with us and believe in the product that we're going to make. And so they sort of, helped fund this opportunity in a way that this could even get off the ground. Jared and Maddie lived out in the middle of a pasture for several years. So where we lived at the time, I was working a good job, but the plan was, hey, I need to quit this job eventually, and it is important that we keep money in the business. So Devin and I didn't take a single paycheck from the company until we were several employees deep. So we were basically reinvesting back into the company. My wife was a teacher at the time, so, we're not bringing in big wads of cash. We sold our house. We bought a fifth wheel camper. And so we parked the fifth wheel. Eventually it turned into just a little micro mini 15 footer, but we lived there completely off grid. So we had solar panels. We frequently lose electricity. Summer nights, it might be 90 degrees inside the camper. Very uncomfortable, but we lived like that for, I think it was 3 or 4 years until Dev and I finally started paying ourselves and we were able to afford to move into town and buy a house. Far too many entrepreneurs are consumed with making money now. And ultimately that just can't happen. And that's why they say in small business and entrepreneurship, you got to get somewhat lucky. And it's 100% true because number one, you got to be blessed with the people that are around you. And then Matt comes on and starts working for us totally free before we could ever pay him because he believed in the product that we were making. And so all of those combined to create an opportunity for great success.
Early on, the work I was doing for Gun Bros was strictly volunteer. I was the first employee, even though I wasn't really an employee, if that makes sense.
It was just me, Matt, and Devin, of course. We thought we were pretty darn busy, so we decided we needed some walkie-talkies so we could communicate back and forth. So we bought some walkie-talkies. We all had code names. It was Spider, Mantis, and Warthog. And I think that's still our group chat.
That is still the group chat name.
Yeah, so you'd have to hit them with the call sign before you address what the problem is.
Kern was Warthog.
I think I was Spider.
And I was Mantis.
I think so. Pretty cool nicknames. We were looking for a marketing guy because we knew the next major investment that we need to make is we need to keep hammering down on the online side and keep growing the business in that department. And something that Dev and I are not very good with is Photoshop, editing videos, doing all these things that we knew that we needed to be doing. And we needed somebody who had a designer's eye for that type of thing.
I'm just a creative guy who wants somebody to pay me to be creative. My name is Lucas Knaus. I looked at that section on my Facebook that day and saw that I had a requested message from Jared Gannavan, who I went to church with, but did not know super well. He said, hey, I heard you know marketing. Would you be interested in interviewing? And so I showed up to their office on Hendricks.
And Lucas was a huge blessing because we got word of him from a couple of friends. We interviewed several people, and Lucas came in for this interview, and I was hoping, man, I hope we could hire this guy. As Jared is out of town, I probably did not have my shoes on, so I had my feet kicked up. I'm sitting there in sweats, multicolored shirt, listening to Joe Rogan. And it's yeah, I don't know about this guy.
Oh yeah, Gun Bros. Every day we're going to be smoking cigars together and we'll just close the shop and go out shooting. And I was like, that sounds like a really not effective workplace.
But he bought in. And yeah, Devin's, sitting there reclining, as far as I know, with his shoes off. Chances are at that time he probably wasn't even wearing deodorant. So I'm sure Lucas was not very impressed.
You said not wearing deodorant.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All natural.
It ended up working out great.
So everybody that aspires to get an FFL,
The ATF will come in with what's called an IOI, and they will do an on-site inspection. And basically, you go through this whole deal. They make sure you're not a crazy person. Okay, do you actually have a business, a legitimate business purpose for the FFL? That's the only way you can get one. So we had a legitimate business plan. We presented that idea to them, and then they hit us with all these rules and regulations, 4473s, 3310s, all of this stuff. And at the end of the day, you have to sign off and say, I know exactly how to do everything that you just named off. And so here, us two knuckleheads are like, oh yeah, sounds good. We'll just sign the paperwork and get the ball rolling. And yeah, it was a long learning curve when we first started out because the ATF compliance side of things is kind of a beast. Devin might have even put on deodorant for that meeting. I don't know.
A lot of our inventory was stored in a broom closet. So we'd have ammo next to like mouse poison. And it was humble beginnings.
And this was our ammo closet. And we would just throw our ammo in here. And yeah, worked great. Somebody else is in here now, a friend of ours, but there was a conference table. It was positioned right here. And then we had a little like 4-foot desk that was in this corner. That was Kern. That was Matt's desk. And Lucas was set up right here. The thing about Matt is as soon as he finds a song, he just lets her play. I don't know how many times. What was the song he kept playing? Going back to Kansas City. Going back to Kansas City. And I just remember Lucas talking about how it was nonstop repeat over and over. Let's run it back again. Let's run it back again. We were only here with Lucas for about 1 week. But yeah, makes you wonder what the heck Lucas was thinking by coming on board with us, but we were very thankful he did. We were making a piece of content online, and Matt was doing something over a revolver. I don't remember exactly what revolver it was. And Matt, while filming it, because it was a live video at the time, Facebook now, YouTube, you can't even do stuff live with your hands on a firearm. But at the time, Matt's filming this thing, and something happened with the crane. I'm watching this video, and a chunk of meat lands on the table. And then the rest of the video, like here's this chunk of skin laying on the mouse pad. Matt no longer is using this other hand, and he said he was over there bleeding like a stuck hog. And I just remember seeing this, and I was out in Missouri at the time, and was absolutely dead that happened. But there that was, this chunk of meat that was laying on the table in front of Matt doing this video with a gun. And what makes it even worse is I believe it was a high-polished stainless Colt revolver. You got blood just squirting out. No laughing, he didn't make a noise. And there you just saw this piece of skin that was laying on his desk as he was sitting there talking about this gun. So how did we come up with the name Gun Bros? My wife hits me with the idea jokingly and is like, what are you going to call this? Like Gun Bros or something like that? And I'm like, wow, that's actually a great idea. We should do that. And I remember like pulling over and I'm like, hey, I got to pull up this website, see if we can buy it. And at the time the domain was for sale. I called Jared. I'm like, I think this is the name. And he's like, okay, buy the domain then. And so we quickly buy the domain. For 30% of the total money that we had at the time. Yeah. So it was a big investment buying the domain, but we knew a name was very important. And I remember calling 3 guys after that. I'm like, hey, we got the name. We got this figured out. And every single person was like, I hate the name. And even my wife said it as a joke. But Jared and I liked it. We ran with it, and it stuck. Take everyone's opinions with a grain of salt, because a lot of times they are wrong. When a customer would want to purchase the firearm and pick it up locally if we were not shipping it out, we would hope that they'd make an appointment, or they'd walk in here and they'd be lost. So one of the secretaries for the business up here, somebody come in and say, is this where Gun Bros is? And they'd send them back. And of course, the people are probably not impressed at all with our facility. But that's how that worked. I remember even at the time, like selling something like 5 items in a day. That was a huge day for us. And that we considered that like a big win. And our whole goal just the whole time was like, let's just snowball this. So I remember the first month that we really started pressing online. We were thrilled with the results we got. And then the next month, it doubled. And then the next month, it doubled again. And we're like, oh man, we might be on to something. And just everything clicked. And it worked out really great. So we've been really blessed. Something that's really overwhelming when starting a business is everyone says you have to be doing something that is bigger than yourself. And I feel like as you're a young entrepreneur, this is really hard to imagine because all you're focused on is how do I make money? because it's not a legitimate business if you are not making money. And it's been a huge blessing throughout these last several years at Gun Bros because I finally see what people are talking about with that. I truly feel, and it's extremely rewarding, that Gun Bros is to a point to where we are truly doing something that is bigger than ourselves. It's not just turning a profit. I truly believe, and all of us at Gun Bros deep down truly believe in the Second Amendment and the importance of it. And I feel like as far as bringing in all of these new people to the community, gaining an understanding of what the Second Amendment is there for, is a highly rewarding thing. To use a quote from a guy in poker, Phil Locke is his name, and he described the perfect career as being something with 3 F's: freedom, fun, and fulfillment. And Jared and I both believe that Gun Bros knocks all 3 of those out of the park. Going to work for Gun Bros every day doesn't really feel like a job because I get to go to work, I get to hang out with my friends, I get to do something I'm passionate about, I feel great about doing, and it's something that's interesting as well.
I was taking all the brother stuff, loading it in my truck, and because they were already at the other place working, and Dan was there, Mikey was there, and then Vanessa, who is Devin and Jared's dad's secretary for his business. And I keep moving out monitors, computers, and files, and paperwork, and everything else, and guns and stuff. And then she's like, "Oh, you're moving out." And I stopped, literally, with stuff in my hand, and I looked at her, and then I looked at Mike and Dan, and I looked back at her, and I said, "The ATF will be here in 30 minutes. I was like, "We were never here." And I looked at her with that straight of face, and like I'd maybe said 30 words to her my entire life, so she thought I was serious. And like she goes, and just like looks at me, and Dan and Mikey kind of look at each other, and then like look back at me, and I'm like, "I'm just kidding."
We'll wait until Devin's done chomping because his mic's on. Oh yeah, that is good and sweet. So after we outgrew the Hendricks location, we were looking all over Hutch. We needed a place to establish a brick and mortar. And we found what we thought at the time was the perfect space on 300 South Main. Excellent location. We're there for probably 3 years. 4 years. Opened October of 2021. We weren't exactly for sure who we were going to hire. We decided to go out to lunch with one of our lifelong friends, Jake. With honestly no intention of even considering employment. We just went out to lunch with him because we were having a good time.
Jake Wells. The brothers hired me on to start running a storefront when they wanted to do brick and mortar instead of just website. So I grew up knowing Devin and Jared. I actually lived across the street from them for a little while.
And we were telling them what our plans were on South Main with this new retail location. And Jake didn't bring anything up then, but he calls or texts Devin and I later that night. He said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you guys. I think I might be interested in maybe working for you all."
And then they had me come in and really talk to them, and kind of like I guess you could consider it a light interview. And once I knew the game plan of what they really wanted for the company, I was immediately, as we kind of joke, I drank the Kool-Aid. I was locked in. It just was one of those things where it's like I could tell by the business plan of what these guys wanted to do and how I like to be a personable person. It was just, in my eyes, a home run.
We knew Jake was going to be a great fit. Jake is naturally a very positive person. He makes people feel very welcome in the retail space. When people walk in to our brick and mortar stores, no matter which one it is, they're always met with a smiling face and somebody that's happy that they're there. And Jake really kind of set the bar, set the standard there as far as what that experience needs to look like. Our whole mission at Gun Bros, never to belittle anybody just because they don't have as much knowledge of the industry as you do. So we hired a bunch of idiots that don't know anything about guns so that the customer's always smarter than them. Yeah. They're always on the same level. They say, "Well, let me look this up." No, honestly, I feel like we are exceeding what we set out to do because almost every single time someone reaches out to Jared and I about the Gun Bros brick and mortar experience, all of them have something positive to say about the interaction that they have had with our employees. So why do brick and mortar if the online was already successful? And the answer is because it was a free roll. It really didn't cost us anything. Ultimately, we needed more space to store the items that we had already procured for online. So why not put them up front? Maybe some people buy them, maybe they don't. Regardless, our cost is we have an employee, which it was going to be Jake at the time, and so we're already going to enjoy hanging out with him anyways. We have a little bit of an increased insurance cost to prevent theft, but ultimately there's no real gamble in having the brick and mortar, and so we were like, yeah, let's just try this and see if we can be successful at it. And Hutchinson took to Gun Bros like a duck to water. Hutchinson has been unbelievably kind to us and supporting the mission that we have at GUNBROS. We have incredibly loyal customers up front, incredibly loyal customers online, and ultimately that is why we are moving in the direction that we are.
The overwhelming positive feedback we get from not only the local community too, but online, and then just people that we do business with in general, it's been overwhelmingly positive. So that's pretty special.
The very first day we opened, I think it was the first day, we had this electric lock. So everybody's in the store, it's the first time we're open. The power goes out in the building, which auto locks this. So all of the customers that are in here the very first time that we're open have to get escorted out through the back. Not a great look on the very beginning of GUNBROS here on South Main. We wanted to break the mold as far as what a brick and mortar gun shop should look like. You go into a regular gun shop and chances are there's a really grouchy old man that's behind the counter and you got to ask him to look at every single gun. We wanted an experience where you could literally just walk up and check out a gun. And you could do that with handguns, you could do it with rifles, you could dry fire them, you could see how they work for you, and you don't have that tension there with a sales associate. We actually had to make these mounts ourselves and make them fit with some plastic and welded on some pieces to actually make this work with the slat wall. Let's say that that third handgun was gonna be the gun that you were gonna buy, but you had already felt so much friction from the clerk, you never asked to see the third handgun. So our thought process is, why not just put them out on the wall and you guys can just check them out as you see best fit. And to be honest, we've had almost no dropped guns. We've had no issues. One time I got overly ambitious with these triggers that came out that were some binary triggers for a Glock. These things absolutely sucked. And I made the mistake of ordering a bunch of them. So what did we do? We pulled them off the shelves. They never made it to the website because, you know, we didn't test them far enough to get to that point. Pulled them off the shelves and now they're just back in storage because we're not gonna sell that crap to somebody because the product sucks. And of course the manufacturer won't take it back, but that's the whole point is everything in all of our stores and specifically online is stuff that we all use and that we all believe in. And the same thing happened with even a firearm attachment that we had outside of the triggers. It was a light, I'm not gonna name the brand, but ultimately we had enough complaints that we just pulled the product off the shelves. So shortly after opening this brick and mortar, we knew we needed to be posting short form content on YouTube because that's what's popping. Lucas was kind of the mastermind behind all this and spends most of his days actually editing these videos. And we knew we wanted a video to go up every single day. It was gonna require a lot of work on all of our behalf, but it needed to be something that was organic and just flowed naturally. So none of us can sit here and read from a script. Most of us, there's a couple of us, most of us are terrible actors. So we can't act to save our lives. So it is way more beneficial if we just kind of do improv stuff. Maybe we do add a little bit of thought to some of the videos that we actually make and do a little bit of homework, but nothing is scripted whatsoever. And I think you as the viewer can tell that something is genuine when we post stuff that way.
It's that Glock 17 I told you about. Just keep shooting low.
Hey, I can't wait to see that Glock and G.I. Jane too. Uh-oh.
Get my gun's name out of your mouth.
Chase just slapped the crap out of me. The YouTube channel just started growing like crazy.
Yeah, we're doing the Billy Mays video and with the serial killer, and I'm driving. Kern's the killer.
Let's go ahead and see if there are any firearms in reach. No firearms in reach, and it's a sad thing.
And his job is to come and get me out of the truck. Well, obviously, me driving the truck, my job is to make sure that when I stop the truck, you put it in park. Didn't do that. Didn't do that at all. You did a good job of yanking me because you yanked me hard enough away from that brake pedal that the truck just, boom, there she goes. Ah! No! 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 Thankfully, we got her stopped before it, dude, it was, what was it? We walked to where it was, and I think it was like 2 feet from hitting the stump. That definitely would have been a bad time.
You've got guys like Jared who can walk around and get noticed just about any town he goes to at this point, where I've had a couple instances where I was walking through a Walmart, like in Kansas City or something, and somebody has been like, that's one of the GUNBROS guys. And to me, that's just kind of wild, kind of weird to think about the fact that we're getting noticed like that. We're actually doing something, getting a name out there, making something happen. So that's pretty neat.
All of us start to feel like that deeper meaning as far as what we're doing on behalf of the Second Amendment. Yeah, and as far as the purpose of the YouTube channel goes, us using YouTube, we can't say our website. We have to hide all of the things that talk about our website, but ultimately it is inferred that YouTube is a traffic generator to the website. And so it's our way of creating content that is not only valuable, but ultimately is our greatest source of marketing, because we can't market anywhere else. We can't run specials or say, hey, check us out because we got this deal going on. It just doesn't exist. Facebook, Instagram, nothing like that.
We're constantly kind of pushing against the digital restraint against firearms. The internet is rapidly trying to shut down any social media promotion of guns.
The next person that we hired after we brought on Jake, so we have at this time Matt, Lucas, Jake, and now we're kind of looking for the next guy.
My name's Chase Becker. They call me Chip.
I was talking to a customer who had a question that I didn't know the answer to.
Jared's talking to a customer about mounting an optic to like a SIG M18 pistol. Yes, I know.
And then Chip was just a customer in the store, and he ends up answering the dude's question. I'm like, hey, this guy knows more than me. He knows a lot of stuff. And so I just asked him on the spot, I'm like, hey, do you want a job? And then I think you said no initially. I don't know what the heck was wrong with you, but you said no.
Jared's like, would you like to work here? And I was like, no, I would not.
I think I insisted. I'm like, I want your number. Give me your number.
About an hour later, and I'm like, you know what, second job wouldn't be too bad.
I was literally the worst customer in the world because never been in the place before. 10, 15 minutes in the door, I'm offering the owner advice on how to sell product. Be like, hey, listen here, bud, you shouldn't be, that's the wrong thing. You actually need this. So, my bad.
So eventually we decided, hey, let's establish another somewhat small GUNBROS location, and let's put this out in Dodge City, Kansas. We had some great connections already, so we felt like Dodge City, easy fit, went out there and looked at some property. And honestly, the size is almost exactly what we got here. Jake actually moved out there, completely relocated. We got him a little house for rent that he was living out of. And then of course we needed some additional help here. Chip came on full-time, and then Roman came on part-time. And Roman, we got him pretty much as a yearling.
I'm Roman Turner. I've been working here for a year and a half as part-time, and then I just recently got to full-time.
I remember when we offered Roman a full-time job, I still think about this regularly, is we go, okay, that's the offer. And he goes, all right, let me think about it. All right, I'm in. And then popped up and shook our hand. So that was Roman becoming a made man. And so we actually eventually hired Roman as a full-time guy. He fits right in, and that's something that's pretty unique about the whole working experience at GUNBROS is the mesh of all the guys that are there. Like, we all work together really well. It's just an excellent atmosphere.
When I started working here, I didn't expect that everyone in this office would be my friend, and I think they all are, except Roman. But
a lot of people are like, oh, I dread going into work. I never dread going into work. It's a fun environment.
We all want to succeed. We all just want to keep excelling at what we do, but at the same time, we definitely don't get too serious with each other, and we always make sure that it's a place that every day you show up and you work here and you know you're going to have a good time with all of your good friends. It's always just great around here.
To say that I love working here does not give it full justice. You don't know how big of a blessing it is to get up every day and look forward to going to work.
I think we're all really close-knit friends. We're a kind of a bigger friend group, but I think we all know each other. We know what we're about, and we all kind of love and respect each other. No homo, well, a little homo, but anyways.
Oh, dude. This guy is walking out of the store, and he goes, all right, guys, I'm going to go home and drink some gas. And I go, what? Don't go drink some gas. He goes, nah, but I did leave some gas over in that corner, and then walked out the door. Probably should have offered him a job. Fit right in. We had this sales rep come, and it's frequent that these sales reps actually come by our store because they want our business. He had to use the bathroom. Pretty shaky. It's pretty shaky in there. In fact, we would call the toilet the hardest working employee at GUNBROS. He goes in to use the toilet, which is not public for a good reason. This is the bathroom. It's really some of our favorite distributors up there. Shout out to them. They've probably never seen it. Cigarette incense. this guy that was trying to get our business, probably don't own our business anymore, but he took a dump and he comes back out here. And there are, I don't know, there's a handful of people up here shopping, and dude literally has toilet paper just hanging down half of his leg, just flopping in the wind, and I didn't have the nerve to say anything, to be honest. I feel really bad.
Did somebody come in there and like clean your guys' facility? And I'm like, oh no, oh no. No. And then she was like, what about like the bathroom? Her knowing that, you know, 6 guys using the bathroom, it could probably get a little rough. And I was like, it kind of cleans itself. And then she's like, what? And I go, well, the toilet overflows so often that it just kind of washes everything on the floor. I was like, and then like you just let it air dry and it's clean.
Did anyone ever put any 409 Lysol anything on that toilet? Not once.
I would clean the bowl occasionally.
Okay.
You would? Yes.
That floor didn't see a mop in the 4 years.
No, not the floor, yeah. What else happened up here? We always film up here before we open, and the door should always be locked. If it's unlocked for whatever reason, one of us messed up. But Lucas and I are up here filming one day. Generally, we'll see a customer like walk up to the window and check the door. And what we'll do if we're filming is Lucas and I will generally just like hide behind these shelves or something like that.
Very
and
professional.
Then, yeah, and then the customer will just walk away, understand, hey, we open when we open. The door's locked. Well, we forgot to lock it that day. So dude just walks on in, and Lucas and I are just kneeling behind these center displays. Dude, is he walking? Is he getting out again?
Yeah, he's back out.
Hold on. Drop down again. And it's one of those deals where I don't know how you recover from that. Like, what do you guys? I'm just cleaning. I don't even know what we said, but that was pretty embarrassing.
That's good.
So Chip was handling a customer, not a customer complaint. Customer was confused because he received, or he ordered an FDE vert grip or something. I guess the customer calls and said, hey, I got a black vert grip. The package says FDE. And Chip's first question was, well, he's like, you're not perhaps colorblind, are you? And I stopped what I was doing and I looked because he was down the other end of the warehouse and making this phone call. And I looked at Lucas because Lucas was next to me at his desk. And I'm like, did I hear that correctly? And Lucas goes, yes. Just the quiet nod. And I go, that's different.
Chip has complete faith in the company. Like, hey, it's not a problem with us. Sir, you're probably colorblind. It's a medical thing with you.
Bros is incapable of making mistakes. So
More likely you have a medical condition.
an undiagnosed medical condition and you're 45 years old. You know?
This is where all the magic happens. So over here is where we have our training posters. So this one actually came from the Hendricks location. Matt had this above his desk. I don't know if he drew like motivation from this during tough times at work, but yeah, we'll make sure that we always keep that. He did print this off and put it on our door.
If you're going to go deal with a customer, you're seeing a rat smoking a cigarette saying the nightmare begins again. So.
This news clipping is from October 30th, 2021. It would have been just a couple weeks after we first opened. That's a handsome crew. Matt's desk is right here. So when we moved here from the Hendricks location, Matt brought all of his belongings from that location. Oh my gosh. Whoops. There's Matt's belongings. Yeah.
Do you think I should stretch out a bit more? Let me do this.
What a stupid way to say it. That's stupid. Over here doing half the splits. Matt put all of his belongings from the Hendricks location in this box, and they're still in the box. He never unpacked them. So, see this camera up here? This is a fake camera. Does not exist. The fake camera exists, but the camera is fake. We buy this fake camera off Amazon that even had a flashing red light, and Matt's desk was all in the corner. Like nobody could see, like he was just segmented off from everybody else. And we put that camera directly right above his desk to where it's pointed at his computer screen.
Always being watched.
Lucas and Jared have the right idea to go and take a photo of Matt's desk where it would be on the camera. And so Matt comes into work and is like, what's this camera doing above my desk? What's that camera there for? And we said, it's for your safety. And then he walked around and looked at my computer screen And it is literally just that picture right there pointing at his desk, which was just the photo Lucas took of zoomed in on Matt's desk. So the only thing you can see is what Matt's doing the entire day. And I think maybe an hour went by and then we told him the truth because I was afraid he was going to get pretty hostile about that. So Matt would always tell Chip, be careful when you go out to the recycle bin.
Sometimes we have to make room, so someone will have to stand in the dumpster and jump on it. Okay, so I don't know why, but Kern did not trust me to jump on the cardboard in the box. Knowing myself and like being blatantly honest, he was right not to trust me. I go outside to jump on the trash, and then I tell the brothers, hey, I'm gonna play a prank on Kern.
Well, Chip calls Matt one day and is like,
I slipped through and I can't get out. Can you come pull me out?
so Matt had to go out there with a ladder as if he was gonna recover him. The way that this process works is as soon as we get an online order, it gets processed right here. This table has processed tens of thousands of orders, works well. So we just pull up all the information. I don't care if you place an order at 3 p.m. We are gonna do our best to make sure that it gets on the UPS truck that day, and our guys do a stellar job at doing that. So everything is fulfilled by us. That makes us completely different than 99.9% of online retailers, because all those guys, they just drop ship. They never even look at the product. Before we ship it out to our customers, we're doing a quality control. We're making sure that it functions, everything is intact, and you're getting a sticker from us. It's gonna be packed by us. It's gonna be shipped out same. We don't drop ship one thing, not at all. That's some of our training material. Write down serial number, that's serial number of the box. Yeah, apparently the mini split, it leaks a little bit. That's one of the things about this facility, is you get a decent rainfall here, and stuff starts leaking. So we do a lot of water remediation, you could say. So back here is Devin and I's quarters. This is very haggard. This is a profitable man cave, is basically what's going on here. So, you know, it's kind of a locker room. So this pipe here, this pipe looks way up there. And basically how you measure a man here in the shop is you have to reach up and you have to jump that. So I will demonstrate right now.
Touch the pipe,
Go ahead, Roman. I want to do it right here.
Oh, really?
Oh, I touched it! I touched that sucker!
There are a couple of employees who can't touch the pipe, but are very close.
You have to be able to touch that pipe. Lucas, it's just not clicking for him yet, but he will get it. I have faith.
Everything that I've read, praise the Lord.
Here's our desks. As you can see, with the amount of clutter that we have, it is time to move. Here's my chair that's being held together by a strap. There's a bunch of rips. These are here so that they don't cut my leg on this piece of metal and maybe me get tetanus. I can't even lean back on the chair, so I don't even have a backrest. So my chair is a real nice one too. What we have, this is reinforced. This is some steel wire here, real sturdy. So, you know, this arm likes to come undone. So when you recline back, it's got a nice little cant to it. So it's you know, when you're doing some work, you can roll back like that. We have inventory in pretty much all these boxes. Everything is accounted for. Somebody in Gun Bros will have a pretty good idea where any type of item is that we need to track down. For instance, if you go to our website, we love auto hearing protection. So every single black auto hearing protection that's on our website, guess what? It's sitting right here. And so if you place an order, one of our guys is gonna walk in here in this dirty office, they're gonna pick that up, they're gonna box it up, and they're gonna ship it to you. So everything is accounted for. What's on the website is sitting right here in our offices today. This is kind of the media room. At one time it was nice, and then we had to use it for more inventory. So if something gets logged in, it has a unique serial number, or maybe it's just a one-off, Jared and I will typically allocate that towards the back here as just a personal Gun Bros. We call it our retirement package. Yep, and one of the cool things, this Winchester right here. This Winchester right here, it's serial number 1. No idea how we got it, but I'm pretty pumped about that. And then you get a whole bunch of these darn Walthers. Walther P99 Final Edition, okay? So I kept peeling back some of these. Dude, they did that Final Edition for like 3 years. Like, what kind of Final Edition is it when you got 10,000 serial numbers that are Final Edition? So I should probably liquidate those, but those are in the retirement package. Like Kiss's farewell tour. Let's run it back again, guys. Yeah. Jared and I bouncing ideas off each other about the furtherance of the business is always beneficial because we generally see eye to eye. We obviously grew up together, considering we're brothers, and so we know kind of the way each other thinks, but we do fit together well because I have my strengths, he has his. So as you guys can see, this place is overly crowded, and we have just continued to grow. We're super excited to get to the next place, and it wouldn't even be close to possible without our support from the Gun Bros community. And that's both our local brick and mortar guys and of course everybody online. People have constantly asked us, when are you going to open a range? When are you going to open a range? And that has always been at the forefront of our minds. That has obviously been our next logical step. And we finally now have had the opportunity to make that a reality. So we got tons of good memories at 1001, at 300 South Main, but now it's time to make some good memories here. The construction of this facility was a huge undertaking. So we kind of did it in different stages. So at first, Devin and I moved our operations over here. We started officing out of this new facility. We eventually shut down 300 South Main. All the guys, it was all hands on deck, bringing all the inventory over here.
Like this?
Yeah, there you go.
Literally took them one day to tear this down. This is wild. Including the back. Took everything out. It's all over at the new place. Feels naked in here. You know what these are? Remnants of a better time. Not really. It's not a better time. It was a great time, but I think there's a better time ahead. I don't know what we're supposed to do with this. That counter is the counter that I jumped over several times. Almost blew out a knee jumping over this counter. I knew you were a SIG guy the moment you walked in the door. Good counter, real sturdy. It's got an echo because they're in all these firearms to absorb the sound. Matt even had a mouse under his computer. This is what a startup looks like. This is Haggard. Oh, that's a good point. But what else do you do? You have to start somewhere, and this wasn't even the starting point. This was a stepping stone to the next stepping stone. Yep. So you can't have it all right out of the gate. Pretty bad. Who the heck would let people work in these conditions? Two things we cannot leave behind. Number one, this is the first sign that we ever had made. It was done by a local girl that worked at the farmer's market, and she painted this for us, and this has been with me in my office since our inception. Another painting. This came from some awesome customers of ours, Keith and Carrie Joe. Keith is from Australia. This is legit Aborigine art. He brought this back at some point, and we were just told that the head of the snake always needs to be pointed upward. They gave this to us right before Keith passed away, so it certainly means something to us, and it will always be with us.
We have great leadership with the owners of the company, and we're definitely moving in a positive direction and have since the beginning, in my opinion. And I wouldn't work for anybody else, and it's the best job I've ever had.
You work with a bunch of guys that every day you get to come in, you know you're going to be able to joke around, you know you're going to be able to talk to them about stuff if something's going on, and everybody's going to work together. Just the camaraderie that we have as a group here, I think it's unparalleled. Gun
Bros matters to me because it stands for something, and I don't just go into job. We're actually chugging forward on a purpose that says that the American people will not be ruled over We will stand and we will fight for what is just and what is right. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did.
So obviously we had to expand the team as we move into this much larger facility. And when you add new team members, you got to train them. You got to train them on the point of sale system. You got to train them on compliance, as well as the inventory that we actually carry here at GUNBROS. So that all takes a little bit of time, but we are so fortunate with the employees that we have here, because not only are we pulling from, you know, the local demographic here in Hutchinson, but we also have got some people that traveled from different states to come work at GUNBROS. And these people are very talented individuals and have been great additions to the team. Just like what we had at 300, lots of firearms on display so people can come up, check them out, but a ton more offerings. Man, I want to say it was, I think on the showroom here, we have over 450 firearms, I think is what it was on our last audit. Because we're new to the range industry, that required a lot of SOPs put in place that we were not familiar with. So we did a lot of time digging online and of course communicating with other ranges around the country to solidify the rules and practices that we put in place. And by about that point in time, it was time for our friends and family night. So we invited our closest friends and family to come down, test out the facilities, and put us basically through a pressure test to ensure that the systems that we put up were going to be smooth sailing from the beginning. So a lot of friends and family were constantly asking us, why don't you guys open? Why don't you guys open? You look close, you look clean. Ultimately, Jared and I's position was we get one shot at a first impression. So we wanted to make sure that the day we had our first customer walk in the door, that his or her entire shopping experience was going to be ultimately streamlined, and we were going to knock this thing out of the park. So the grand opening was a huge success. We literally had thousands of people here. We had a line for several blocks long of people just waiting in line to walk through our new facility. In fact, there was even several car accidents. So you know it was a huge success because people are just trying to get in here as quickly as possible. We had several food trucks out there. In fact, we paid for quite a few meals for a lot of our customers. We gave out tons of free cigars. We wanted people to enjoy their time here. Had people travel from as far as several states away. Even had some people all the way from the East Coast travel here, and we think everyone was blown away by the grand opening. We added a timeline of firearm history beginning here in the 800s, progressing through a history of firearms, and then right here in 2019, when GUNBROS began business, we're excited to see what's next. And look here, couldn't leave these behind. So here we are, fully open, moving and shaking. This thing turned out absolutely awesome. Far better than we ever expected. We love working here. We have some amazing personnel, and we're very much looking forward to what the future holds. It's been great taking a trip down memory lane, starting all the way back at 1001 North Hendricks, then 300 South Main, and now here at the GUNBROS Range facility. We've already made some great memories here. We can't wait to make more, and we're excited to see what the future holds.
Jolly good time.
Up here, we've got a nice little bouncy house for the little fella.
That's good.
I need help!
New jiu-jitsu suit.
Holy smokes, dude.
That's good. Oh, you got the shot. Hey, dude, he's pretty. That's pretty impressive.
Please don't post this on the Hutch Gossip. That's the biggest.
Chip goes and gets a perm.
Here's the problem. Chip is going to have women texting him like it's their job.